What's up, guys? Big Fry here. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on H1Z1. We're about a month after launch, so I figured now's the time to get my thoughts down in a video. Now, this game has gone through a lot of changes in the last month, as well as a lot of controversy. I want to talk about it here, give you guys some insight on this zombie apocalypse MMO. Now, first and foremost, I understand what everyone's first question is when it comes to H1. How does it stack up to DayZ? Well, let's start it off here. I don't like DayZ at all. I think the idea is great. I think the premise of these survival MMOs, these open world sandboxes with lots of players, I think that idea is great. I just don't like it on the Arma engine. The Arma engine makes that game very limited in what they can do as a studio. So what you guys are going to see is a very long early access development time. I really don't see it ever coming out of early access. All I see them doing now is just adding cosmetic items, even though the engine is buggy and the game is essentially broken at points. So comparing this to DayZ, this is on a whole other level. Yes, there's bugs. Yes, the graphics can be polished a little bit more, but in terms of graphical fidelity, I think they're almost on par in terms of character models, in terms of environments. It looks really good. Both of them do. But in terms of the bugs and in terms of the engine capabilities, H1 takes the cake. It is way better than DayZ in any sense of the imagination. It is way better. Guns handle better. Just the inventory system. You don't have to hit your scroll button to open doors. Like, it's a way better engine, and you can tell that they're going to be able to do a lot more with the engine going forward. I mean, right now we're sitting on a map that's 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers, and what they eventually want to do is a 64 kilometer by 64 kilometer map, which is insane, and they want to fill that with thousands of players. Kind of like PlanetSide, which is amazing. It'll be the first game in this genre to actually do it on a massive scale like that and pull it off. So I have all the faith in the world. Where does this engine differ from PlanetSide? Well, now you're dealing with a lot more melee-based combat. And you can tell, melee combat is not that great in this game. It's very slippery slope. And what I mean by that is you can hit a guy 10 times with your fists, and you guys are just constantly just running in circles, just throwing punches. It's unorganized, chaotic. Sometimes it makes for a really good time, but more often than not, it's kind of just... I don't really feel like doing this. If I have a gun, it's just easier for me to light into them and go from there. Move on, loot the body, and just move on. Speaking of looting, the loot system since day one has been broken beyond belief. They originally started and there was absolutely nothing to loot. Like, you could get maybe a couple cans of food, maybe some backpacks, and then they eventually they tilted it from having nothing all the way to the other side of the scale, and you could get guns and ammo galore. There were people duping weapons, so guns were spawning. Guns were everywhere. Weapons, snipers, shotguns everywhere. So they flooded the game, and then it eventually caused them to do a player wipe, which happened, I believe, last week. So you wiped your inventory, you wiped everything. You start from scratch. And the loot today is still broken. You can find food, you can find a lot of backpacks, a lot of all-purpose goggles, but in terms of finding ammo, it is super limited, and people might think that's a good thing, but eventually, after a while, you have a bunch of guns that you're just walking by because you cannot find ammo for them, which, if that's what they're going for, okay, fine. But I don't see the fun factor in it after 4 hours of searching, and the only time you can find ammo is on other people. So it just forces us to go into PvP, which I believe is something that they said all throughout development. They kind of want to, like, they wanted to do PvP, but they want to find ways to kind of keep it more friendly, I guess you could say, and not force players to interact violently all the time. So it kind of goes against what they were saying originally. Also, another thing they need to do, especially when you see communities like mine, we call ourselves the Headhunters Gaming Community, we have 20 to 30 players in H1Z1. Now, you can imagine a game with no group system, no friends list, no nothing. you could imagine trying to keep that organized in a team speak. And now we've been doing pretty good, but we think as a whole unit, you should be able to have a grouping system. And even though the game was received very negatively, I want to take this idea from War Z, or Infestation Survivor Series, or Survivor Stories, as it was changed later, through court systems and stuff. They had a system where if you were in a group with somebody, you couldn't see a little icon above their head until you were in proximity. And the proximity was like, say, a quarter mile. So I could be across the map and I can't see where they're at until I get within a range where I can see them. And then it shows a little icon, which is perfect because we roll in tight-knit groups. So the icons are always going to be there. And it's something to keep everything organized. And I don't understand why they don't just set it up that way. It was a perfect system. It makes it easier to group with big groups like us. And what we have is we have multiple smaller squads running the same objective. So we'll have a couple of guys up on an apartment building overwatching with snipers. We have those guys up there. So we can just look up, see an icon, good to go. We know they're up there. We have guys looting supermarkets. We have guys going to gas stations. We have guys driving in a vehicle. And everything, we're just rolling through a city just all as one huge fucking army. But not being able to tell who's who unless you're a foot away is a big pain in the ass. But guess what? I can live with every negative thing that I can possibly find as long as it would fix the fucking rampant hacking that goes on in this game. Now I'm going to play you guys a clip. This is from my live stream that happened yesterday. I was playing, running through the forest. I was a fresh spawn, and I just died from nothing. There was nobody around. I got instant headshot, one shot, done. And I went down instantly. And you could attribute this to an archer hiding in the bushes somewhere, but then I went to my friend's stream and it happened to him instantly. Same thing, just died. He just died. Now, cut to another clip. I'm rolling with a group of guys. There's about, I think, 10 of us here right now in this scenario. I'm watching one of my friends loot a zombie corpse, and my other friend is kind of giving him a little bit of cover. Well, my other friend here just dies instantly. One shot, done. Okay, so I start running. So get around. I get into the little grocery store that I can kind of see where these guys are looting. And I start to take some shots, as you can see here. I hit him about 3 or 4 times. He turns around and just one-shots me. Instantly, no aiming, just turned around and shot, and point blank, you can see where my health was at. I don't understand it. The rampant hacking in this game absolutely ruins the experience. And it'd be different if there was preventative action being taken to prevent these hackers. But what this is, what Daybreak, or formerly known as SOE, what they're doing is reactive measurements. So I get caught by a hacker, or I get killed by a hacker, and I have to send a fucking email to these guys saying, hey, this dude's name killed me on this server at this time. Great. So a week goes by, they ban wave 100 players, done. But I still got killed by a hacker. There should be preventative measures in place that can see if these guys are running third-party scripts, third-party programs, anything like that. But we don't see any of that, as far as we know. All it is, oh, you got killed by a hacker? Well, submit an email and everything will be better in a week. That's not fun for people, and it turns a lot of people off. So unless you can come up with a system in place to keep us protected from this shit, nobody's going to want to play. Because I get it, we're early access, I get it, we're testing, but this is ridiculous. And you saw what happened with DayZ Standalone. DayZ Standalone and DayZ Mod were fucking rampant with hackers. So you guys didn't even learn from that. You couldn't look at those games and be like, what can we do differently? People love these games, they hate the hacking. So let's not fix that. That was your option. That's what you went with. Let's not fix the one thing that people want fucking fixed. Good fucking job. And I might sound a little bit bitter, and maybe I am, because every time I go to live stream this game, I'm getting killed by hackers. Every time. It does not matter. There's hackers. Sometimes everyone else around me will get killed and I might log out, but then I'm not coming back. I'm not going to log back in with a hacker around. That's not fun. So it kills my live stream. Now I got to go do something else. Even though I love this game, I love zombie games. I play anything zombie unless it's Dying Light, but I love this genre as a whole. And I hate to see it just get destroyed like this, because I have a lot of people in my community who rely on leaders to be in the channels and playing and communicating and interacting with this community. But if we're just getting killed by hackers, and then you can just see everybody just logs off and they go and do their own thing, that's stupid. Fix it. And on top of all of this hacking and drama, we have the airdrop problem. People find airdrops and airdrop tickets and purchasing event tickets, they find that to be a total bullshit system. I actually don't mind it. Buying airdrop tickets and calling in an airdrop doesn't mean you get anything. You know, I've ran with guys and we've stolen loot drops from multiple people. They show up to get their loot, we kill them and take their loot. It's as simple as that. So it's a gamble. You can choose to gamble and get weapons or get gear or get metal for bases. You could choose to do that. Or you could just loot it in the game if the loot was working. Now you guys see the problem. Loot's not working, so it kind of makes people think like maybe it's not working on purpose because we're able to buy a chance to get this loot with real money. So you can see kind of where the hesitation is with people on these ideas. How do you fix it? You take the airdrops out, which I wouldn't mind regardless. It doesn't matter to me. But you need to make money somehow. How do you make money? How do you stop hacking? And how do you keep the player base entertained and enjoying your product? How do you do it? You don't make the game free to play after early access. Done. You still make your money. You deter a lot of hackers, because if you think the hacking's bad now with a $20, $40 price tag, imagine if it goes free to play. How many hacking script kiddies are going to be running around in a free-to-play title? You guys are delusional if you don't see this. You want to make money, you want to stop a good percent of hackers, a good chunk of hackers. Just don't make the game free-to-play when you're done early access. Make it more expensive. Take the Arma 3 route. Arma 3, when it came out in early access, or they had their alpha, it was, I want to say it was like $29.99. Then it went into beta, and it was a little bit more expensive. It was $35.99. And then it went into launch. It launched the game $59.99, full price. So if you want to do it like this, give a discount to those early adopters who have to deal with all this garbage. Give it to us for $20. Then when you go and you want to launch it out of early access and make it a standalone thing, charge $30. Just a little bit more. Give us an incentive for buying early, and keep the free to play hackers out of your game. Done. You solved 2 problems, or you solved 1.5 problems, because there's always going to be hackers. But you're actively preventing that free to play hacker going rampant. So that's how I see that. Maybe that's just me. You know, I'm just a kid in a basement, but that just seems like the smart thing to do. I'm going on a rant, and I apologize. This is like a 14-minute video, but the game is amazing, minus the hacking. I would play this game till the cows came home, but the hacking is just way too brutal for me right now. I am going to be taking a break, unfortunately, because there's nothing else out right now that interests me. I have been streaming. I do have H1 content on this channel. If you guys want to go see me be a total dick to players in game, go do that. Follow me on Twitter at BigFryTV. Hit that subscribe button below. Get me on Twitch. We're going to be streaming. I don't know what we're going to be streaming, because I was super excited for this, but it just seems like the hackers are taking over, which is really unfortunate, but kind of predictable. Thanks, guys. Leave your comments below if you guys have any other opinions on H1Z1 or any other zombie game in this genre. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.